300 farmers with torches and trumpets defeated 135,000 professional soldiers in one night. No swords, no shields, no battle formations, just chaos, confusion, and a God who wanted to prove a point. What you're about to hear sounds impossible. It violates every military strategy ever written. Sun Tzu would call it suicide. Modern generals would call it insanity. But this actually happened, and the way it went down will change everything you think you know about power, faith, and impossible odds. That'll be why, the end of this video, you'll understand the most brilliant psychological warfare strategy in ancient history. You'll discover why God intentionally reduced an army before battle. And you'll see how 300 terrified farmers created a night of horror that's still studied today. This is the story of Gideon's victory, the battle where God showed up in the most unexpected way. Let me paint you a picture of what Israel looked like before this battle. For 7 years, the Midianites had been crushing Israel, not just defeating them in battle, crushing them. Every harvest season, like clockwork, massive armies would sweep across Israel's borders. They came with camels, thousands of them, like a plague of locusts. The Bible says they were without number, and they would destroy everything. Here's what that actually meant for regular Israelite families. You spend months planting wheat. You water it, protect it from animals, pray over it. Harvest time finally comes. Your family gathers in the fields to collect the grain that will feed you through winter. Then you see the dust cloud on the horizon. The Midianites are coming. Within hours, they've stolen your entire harvest. Your livestock? Gone. Your donkeys, sheep, oxen, everything. They even destroy what they can't carry, burning fields just to send a message. And you can't fight back. Their army is too massive, too organized, too brutal that Israelites started hiding. The Bible says they lived in mountain clefts, caves, and strongholds. Imagine abandoning your house, your farm, your life, and living in a cave because an enemy has terrorized you so completely that you're afraid to sleep in your own bed. This wasn't a war. This was systematic oppression. This was psychological torture on a national scale, the spiritual crisis behind the military crisis. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is the part most people miss. Israel wasn't just losing militarily. They had lost spiritually first. The Bible tells us that Israel had turned away from God and started worshiping Baal and Asherah, the false gods of the nations around them. They had abandoned the one who brought them out of Egypt, parted the Red Sea, and gave them this land in the first place. God allowed the Midianites to dominate Israel to wake them up. After 7 years of suffering, Israel finally cried out to God for help. And God, because He's merciful even when we don't deserve it, decided to rescue them. But God didn't choose a general, He didn't choose a prince, He didn't even choose someone brave. That He chose Gideon, a terrified farmer hiding in a wine press, threshing wheat in secret so the Midianites wouldn't find it. The most unlikely hero. Picture this scene. An angel of the Lord appears to Gideon while he's literally hiding and threshing grain in a wine press, a place designed for pressing grapes, not wheat. Gideon is paranoid, looking over his shoulder, working in secret, and the angel says, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Mighty warrior? Gideon probably thought the angel had the wrong guy. This is the biblical equivalent of calling someone hiding under their bed a brave soldier. Gideon's response is painfully honest. If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all the miracles our ancestors told us about? The Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hand of Midian. Can you hear the pain in that? Disillusionment? Gideon had grown up hearing stories about the God who did impossible things, who drowned Pharaoh's army, who brought down Jericho's walls, who stopped the sun in the sky for Joshua. But Gideon's reality was caves, stolen crops, and constant fear. The angel doesn't argue with him. Instead, God gives Gideon a command that must have seemed absolutely ridiculous. Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you? Gideon's honest obedience. Now, watch what Gideon does next. He doesn't say, "Yes, Lord," and run off to recruit an army. He objects repeatedly. How can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I'm the least in my family. Translation, Lord, you got the wrong guy. I'm from a nobody family in a nothing tribe, and even in my own house, I'm the least important person. Pick someone else. But God doesn't pick someone else. He rarely does. Throughout the Bible, God has this pattern of choosing the weak, the afraid, the unlikely, because when they succeed, everyone knows it wasn't their strength that won. It was God's. God promised Gideon, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." But Gideon still isn't convinced. He asks God for a sign, then another sign, then the third sign. He puts out a fleece of wool and asks God to make it wet while the ground stays dry. God does it. Then Gideon asks God to reverse it. Make the fleece dry while the ground is wet. God does that too. Why does God put up with this? Because God knows Gideon's heart. Gideon isn't being rebellious. He's being honest. He's terrified. He feels inadequate. And God meets him there, giving him the assurance he needs. Finally, Gideon is convinced. He blows the trumpet and calls Israel to war. God's insane military strategy. 32,000 men show up. That's a respectable army by ancient standards. Not huge, but workable. Gideon probably felt some relief. Okay, we've got a fighting chance. Then God drops a bomb. You have too many men. Wait, what? The Midianite army, along with their allies, the Amalekites, and other eastern peoples, numbered 135,000 soldiers. The Bible describes them as thick as locusts, with camels that could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. Gideon has 32,000, and God says that's too many. Why God reduced the army here is God's reasoning, and this is crucial. In order that Israel may not boast against me that her own strength has saved her. Do you see what's happening here? God isn't trying to make the battle harder. He's trying to make a point. If Israel wins with 32,000 men against 135,000, they'll do the math and say, we had good strategy. Gideon's a brilliant general. We fought hard and earned this victory. But God wants them, and us, to know something different. He wants zero ambiguity about who won this battle. When it's over, there should be only one possible explanation. God did this as, God tells Gideon. Announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead. This is actually based on Deuteronomy 20 verse 8, which says fearful soldiers should be sent home because their fear will spread to others. It's practical military wisdom, but in this case, it's also a test. Gideon makes the announcement that 20,000 men leave, that 2/3 of his army just walked away. Gideon is left with 10,000 men, still outnumbered more than 13-1. Those are catastrophic odds. Any military commander would be sweating, but God isn't done. The water test, there are still too many men. God says at this point, Gideon must be thinking, you've got to be kidding me. God gives him specific instructions. Take them down to the water, and I will thin them out for you there. If I say, this one shall go with you, he shall go. But if I say, this one shall not go with you, he shall not go. So Gideon brings all 10,000 men to the spring. God tells him to separate them based on how they drink water. Here's what happens. Most of the men, 9,700 to be exact, get down on their knees and put their faces to the water to drink. But 300 men stay standing. They cup water in their hands and lap it up while remaining alert, watching their surroundings. God says, "With the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home." What the test really meant now, there's been endless debate about what this test actually measured. Some say the 300 were more vigilant warriors. They stayed alert even while drinking, like soldiers who never let their guard down. The phrase lapped like dogs might suggest an animalistic warrior instinct. They had that dog in them, as we'd say today. Others argue it wasn't about competence at all. God specifically chose the smaller group, regardless of why they drank that way. Because 300 is such an absurdly small number that competence becomes irrelevant. At that point, human skill doesn't matter. Only divine intervention can explain victory. Here's what we know for sure. God reduced Gideon's army by 99%. 32,000 became 300. The odds went from bad to mathematically impossible. 300 men against 135,000 soldiers. That's 450 enemy soldiers for every one Israelite. If they lined up and fought traditionally, each of Gideon's men would have to kill 450 trained warriors without dying themselves. That it's not a battle strategy. It's a suicide mission, unless God has a different plan. The night of terror that night, God tells Gideon, "Get up, go down against the camp, because I'm going to give it into your hands. If you're afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying. Afterward, you'll be encouraged to attack the camp." Notice God's gentleness here. He knows Gideon is afraid, and he doesn't shame him for it. Instead, he offers him a way to build confidence that the dream that changed Gideon and his servant Purah sneaked down to the edge of the Midianite camp under cover of darkness. The camp is massive, soldiers everywhere, camels everywhere, tents stretching as far as they can see. They get close enough to eavesdrop on two Midianite soldiers talking. One soldier is telling the other about a dream he just had. A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed. The other soldier interpreted the dream immediately. This could be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands. Let that sink in. The enemy is having dreams about losing to Gideon. They're already afraid. They already sense that something supernatural is happening. When Gideon hears this, he worships God right there. Then he rushes back to his 300 men with renewed confidence. "Get up. The Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands." The battle plan. Psychological warfare. Here's what Gideon does next. And this is brilliant, that he divides his 300 men into 3 groups of 100. He gives each man 3 things: a trumpet, a ram's horn, called a shofar, an empty clay jar, a torch hidden inside the yarn of swords. No spears, no shields, no armor, just noisemakers, pottery, and fire. Gideon explains the plan. "Watch me. Follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" The 3 groups surround the Midianite camp on 3 sides. They wait for the signal that it's the middle of the night, the middle watch, which was around midnight. The camp is quiet. Guards have just changed shifts. Most soldiers are asleep. Then Gideon gives the signal, the moment of assault at once. 300 men blow their trumpets with everything they've got. The sound is deafening, echoing through the valley. Simultaneously, they smash their clay jars. The crash of 300 jars breaking sounds like an avalanche of destruction, and suddenly there's fire everywhere. 300 torches blazing in a circle around the camp. From inside the camp, it looks like they're completely surrounded by a massive army. Then the men shout, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Imagine being a Midianite soldier. You were just asleep in your tent. Suddenly you're jolted awake by trumpet blasts, crashing sounds, and shouting. You stumble outside and see what looks like thousands of torches surrounding your camp from every direction. Your camp is massive. If the enemy has surrounded all of it, they must have an enormous army. Panic sets in immediately. Soldiers are running in every direction. In the darkness and chaos, nobody can tell who's who. Everyone looks like a threat. And then this happens. And this is the most important part. The Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords. God supernaturally confused the Midianite army. In their panic and darkness, they couldn't distinguish friend from foe. They started killing each other. The Midianites destroyed themselves. The Midianite army breaks and runs. They flee in every direction. Gideon sends messengers to other Israelite tribes. Come down and cut off the Midianites. Seize the waters ahead of them. Other Israelites join the pursuit, cutting off escape routes. They capture 2 Midianite princes, Oreb and Zeb, and execute them. The massive army that had terrorized Israel for 7 years is defeated in one night by 300 men with trumpets and torches in conventional warfare. No heroic work.This. Just obedience to God's bizarre strategy and God's supernatural intervention that what this battle actually means. Okay, so that's the story. But why does it matter? Why should you care about a 3,000-year-old battle? Because this battle reveals something fundamental about how God works. And it's the opposite of how the world works. Lesson 1. God uses weakness to display his estimate. The world says, get bigger, get stronger, accumulate more resources, build a bigger army, a bigger business, a bigger platform. Success comes from your ability, your talent, your hard work. God says, I specialize in using the weak, the foolish, the insignificant, because when they succeed, everyone knows I did it. Think about it. If Gideon had 32,000 men and won, historians would credit Gideon's strategy. Military analysts would study his tactics. Gideon himself might have become proud. But with 300 men, there's no human explanation. It's not Gideon's brilliance. It's not Israel's strength. It's 100% God. The Apostle Paul understood this when he wrote, God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him. That's Gideon's story. That's your story if you feel inadequate, under-resourced, or overwhelmed. God doesn't need you to be strong. He just needs you to be willing. Lesson 2. God's methods don't make sense to human elogi see trumpets, and torches don't win battles. Every military expert knows this, but God's ways aren't our ways. His strategies often look foolish from a human perspective. Think about other biblical examples. God told Joshua to defeat Jericho by marching around it and blowing trumpets. No siege weapons, just walking and noise. God told Naaman to cure his leprosy by dipping in a dirty river 7 times. Medical nonsense. But it worked. God saved humanity not through a powerful king, but through a crucified carpenter. The cross looked like defeat, but it was the ultimate victory. Here's the pattern. God's strategies often require us to do something that makes no sense, so that when it works, we can't take credit. If Gideon's plan had been conventional warfare, he could have said, "We won because I'm a tactical genius." But trumpets and jars? All Gideon could say was, "God did this." Lesson 3. God reduces to reveal. But does God keep reducing Gideon's army? To force Gideon and all of Israel to depend entirely on God. As long as Gideon had 32,000 men, he could place some confidence in his army. At 10,000, he could still rationalize a slim chance of victory. But at 300, there's nothing left to trust except God. God often works this way in our lives. He strips away our self-sufficiency, our backup plans, our safety nets, not to hurt us, but to teach us that He is enough. Sometimes God reduces your resources. Sometimes He allows a situation to become impossible. Not because He's cruel, but because He wants you to discover that His power is made perfect in weakness. When you have nothing left to rely on except God, you discover that God is all you ever needed. Lesson 4. Obedience over Gideon didn't understand strategy. It made 0 sense, but he obeyed anyway. That's faith. Faith isn't having all the answers. Faith is obeying God even when His instructions seem crazy. Abraham didn't understand why God told him to sacrifice Isaac, but he obeyed. Noah didn't understand why God told him to build a boat when it had never rained, but he obeyed. Mary didn't understand how she could be pregnant as a virgin, but she obeyed. God doesn't always explain Himself. Often He just says, "Trust me." And when we obey, even when it doesn't make sense, we get to see God do things that blow our minds. That the bigger picture. Why God cares about battles, here's something deeper to consider. Why does God care about Israel's military victory over the Midianites? Is God just playing favorites with one nation? No. There's something bigger happening. God's covenant with Abraham. Go back to Genesis 12. God made a promise to Abraham. "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." That last part is crucial. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you. God's plan wasn't just to bless Israel. It was to bless the entire world through Israel. And how would that happen? Through the Messiah, Jesus Christ, who would be born from Abraham's line, from the tribe of Judah, from the house of David. When the Midianites oppress Israel, they're not just bullying a small nation. They're threatening God's plan to save humanity. If Israel is wiped out or assimilated into pagan nations, the Messiah can't come. The promise fails. That's why God keeps rescuing Israel. Not because they're better than other nations, but because they're the vehicle through which salvation will come to all nations. Spiritual warfare behind physical warfare. Every battle in the Old Testament has a spiritual dimension. Behind the physical armies, there's a cosmic war between God and the forces of evil that want to stop His plan of redemption. Satan wants to destroy Israel because he knows the Savior will come through Israel. The Midianites might not realize it, but they're pawns in a larger spiritual battle. When God delivers Israel from Midian, He's not just helping them win a war. He's protecting the line through which Jesus will eventually come. And that same Jesus will win the ultimate battle. Not with trumpets and torches, but with a cross and an empty tomb. He'll defeat sin, death, and Satan himself. And just like Gideon's victory, it will look like weakness, but will actually be the greatest display of God's power in history. How this applies to your life right now. So how does a 3,000-year-old battle apply to you today? If you feel, oh, maybe you're facing impossible odds right now. The enemy, whether it's financial pressure, health issues, relationship problems, or spiritual warfare, feels too big. You're outnumbered 450 to 1, and you don't see how you can win. Gideon's story says, the size of your problem doesn't matter. The size of your God does. God specializes in impossible situations. When you face odds that should destroy you, that's God's favorite stage to work on. Because when you come through it, everyone will know God did it. Don't measure your circumstances against your strength. Measure them against God's power. If you feel, maybe you feel like Gideon, I'm from the weakest family, and I'm the least important person in it. You look at what God is calling you to do, and you think, I'm not qualified. I'm not talented enough. I'm not brave enough. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Your weakness is not a disqualification. It's an opportunity for God to show up. When God uses you despite your inadequacy, people can't credit you. They have to credit Him. Stop waiting to feel capable. Start obeying while you feel inadequate. If you're waiting for more resources, maybe you're thinking, when I have more money, when I get more experience, when the timing is better, then I'll do what God's calling me to do. Gideon's story says, God doesn't wait for you to have enough. Often, He reduces what you have to prove He's enough. Stop waiting for the perfect circumstances. Start obeying with the 300 men, or the 5 loaves and 2 fish, or the widow's mite. Whatever little God has placed in your hand right now. If you're being, maybe life feels like a series of reductions. You had more security, more health, more certainty, and now you have less. It feels like a loss. It feels like God is stripping things away. What if He's not taking away? What if He's setting the stage for something greater? What if the reduction is preparation for a miracle? God reduced Gideon's army before giving him victory. God reduced David to a shepherd before making him king. God reduced Joseph to a prisoner before making him second in command of Egypt. The reduction isn't the end of the story. It's the setup for God to do something only He can do. 300 men with trumpets and torches defeated 135,000 soldiers. IT shouldn't have worked. By every logical measure, it was insane. But God doesn't play by our rules. He doesn't need big armies or perfect strategies or qualified people. He just needs willing hearts that will obey even when it doesn't make sense. Gideon's victory wasn't about Gideon. It was about God. And whatever battle you're facing right now, whatever impossible situation has you outnumbered, outgunned, and overwhelmed, it's not about you either. It's about God. He's the same God who reduced an army to magnify His power. He's the same God who turns weakness into strength, foolishness into wisdom, and defeat into victory. Yes. Oh, but don't look at your 300. Look at your God. Don't focus on the 135,000 enemies. Focus on the one who makes enemies destroy themselves while you just hold a torch. The battle belongs to the Lord. And He's already won. Call TO action 31:00-31:30. What impossible situation are you facing right now? What battle have you felt outnumbered? Drop in the comments. Let's build a community that reminds each other. With God, impossible odds are just setups for miracles. And if this story encourages you, do me a favor, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who feels outmatched, under-resourced, or inadequate. They need to know about Gideon's 300.next video. We're diving into another impossible battle where God shows up in the most unexpected way. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember, God doesn't need you to be strong. He just needs you to trust Him.